Radio, the Black Nostradamus, Dalai Lama, Bobby Hemmitt. Today, we're going to be speaking on ancient African souls and transformation. Bobby doesn't waste any time, comes straight to the mic. Let's give us a round of applause. This is Bobby Hemmitt.
All right. Okay. I'll set up as I go along. Glad to be here. We got a lot of things to deal with. On the 8th of January, I think that was Elvis's birthday. But anyway, his birthday was on the 8th, and so I went to go see a movie, Daybreakers. Vampire movie. Pretty good, too. Got a good DVD out, bootleg, pretty clear. You know, we'll get into some of that. They announced the Daybreakers. Movie. That morning, they announced that black men and black people coming down with heart attacks, the ones that live far away from the continent because they're not getting enough vitamin E. What's the vitamin E? Vitamin D. Vitamin D. And then we go to the movie and the whole vitamin D thing is in the movie. You see what I'm saying? There was a whole lot of stuff based on blood and based on sunshine and all this type of stuff in the actual movie. So that I'm in the movie, watching the movie, and all of a sudden, the Spirit tell me, look, when you get home, call Panic and take down the website and take down the Facebook and take down the MySpace. I don't argue. The Spirit tell you to do something. Now, 3 days later, I think 4 days later, was the 8th, 4 days later, Haiti hit. The whole Haitian thing hit. You know, about 4 days later. That was on the 12th. The next day was my mother's birthday, which was the 13th. And then I traveled to Baltimore to do a lecture, which we're going to get into, because I got to set this whole thing up to tell you what's actually going on. And after that, it was like, nah, you can't do no more lectures for a minute. This is my first lecture since January the 12th. I had to turn down about 3 or 4 of them. And you see what I'm saying? And I was like, well, you know, the Spirits got that money up. I don't know, you know. But anyway, but there was a reason for that. We're going to go into what was actually going on. So we know the whole thing that went down with Haiti, and you hear the whole political thing and all that. But we need to find out what's going on in the spirit world and what was that about. And so between the 12th of December, we're going to go into that. But between the 12th of December, the 12th of January, up until now, there's been a whole different ordeal that had to go through with these souls. And that's what we're coming to give a report on. Some of you might have seen part of the ritual was done on, I don't know, the YouTube one. My last one on YouTube, I think I got I had to put back on the top hat. But anyway, it might be on YouTube, I don't know. The Baltimore election. And that was done on the 16th. So there's a whole lot of stuff that actually that took place. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go into some of that. Let me get my notes and stuff. We're going to here's another thing. Here's another to show you how rituals are. I'm going to leave this at the store. And here's a picture. Here it says written. There's some little free handout. Free handout. I don't know if you got this down here. It's a little healthcare handout. Anyway, what they did is they went to Haiti and they took this picture. They wanted to take a part of Haiti where there wasn't all the destruction. And as a result, when they do that, I don't know who traveled over there, but there's a picture of Haiti here in here, a panoramic widescreen picture. And so what it is when I saw this, the Spirit's like, well, pick that up. Because what this means is, and I'm going to show this to the camera, what this means is, and I'll show you the front of it. We'll leave one of these behind The only thing you got to do is to take one of these, because this is floating around Atlanta. So what you want to do is take one of these and go to a color copy machine at Staples and run off some 11 by 17. Blow it up to 11 by 17 and run off some 11 by 17. Because this energy here is going to be the backdrop for those souls. So there's certain things happen when you see, and the Spirit will guide you. And so this is the so this picture here is a picture of some mountain in Haiti, where they went over to Haiti recently and took this because they wanted to show something of the natural essence outside of the destruction. This is going to be the backdrop of the soul. So what you want to do is you want to take one of these. You want to go and you want to put this in. You want to do about 11 by 17. So you blow it all the way up to 11 by 17. Most people see the pictures I sell in my lectures. So you want to blow this picture up, and you want to take this picture and put it in your home. And this is going to be the backdrop for those particular souls. Because what we're going to get into today is what happened to those souls. They say they said it was right at 120. Well, how much was it? 120,000. They died. But they say it's estimated is bigger than that because the Haitian government is not. They were just burying bodies and not even counting. So let's say roughly 150,000. And so, but the thing about it is we're going to go into the transition of what actually happened. What actually happened. So we're going to pull libations, and I'm just going to start doing things as I set up as we go along. We got a couple other things here, and I'm going to show you this picture. Let me see if I can get some stuff. I'm going to show you this picture. There's a great Italian guy. You know them Italians. You know how that goes. There's a whole thing on that. You got the Moorish influx with Hannibal, but you also have the Italians coming from the Etruscans, which was the original people there. You see what I'm saying? So you got that whole black element. They say when you even Italy and the Italian right now, the whole family structure and everything they deal with other than the killing and stuff, but that's some little misfits. The whole thing centered around family and all that is almost like the same that they say happen on the continent. As far as the whole structure is basically an African culture. We can say a black culture. And so there's a guy named Arbello. Let's see if I can find his picture. I'll find it in a few minutes. Anyway, he was a great occultist, and I think he just made the transition. Let's see if I can find this right quick. William Arbello. Anyway, anybody ever heard of him? William Arbello. Well, I guess this is what it is. My mother said that it's based on what you made privy to. It's like I said that Muhammad Ali made the most amount of money in the 70s. But Jack Nicholson, what is it, Jack Nicholas? Which one, the golfer? Nicholas. Jack Nicholas ended up with the most amount of money because he was privy to investments and stuff that the white hierarchy structure would put him down with stuff. So although Muhammad Ali earned the most money of the 1970s, he didn't become the richest person. That was the golfer based on being privy to certain things. You see, so what happened was there was a place called Original Publications, and they're the ones that print all the little pamphlets that they have in what they call botanicas. They have bodegas, botanicas, and different things like that. They have up north in different places, the little shops in the little Santeria books, the little, books that's not in the mainstream. You won't see these books in Borders and Barnes and Nobles or Books A Million, but you will see them in these little places and stuff. And they would have stuff in Oshun and different, the Europe of the Santeria and all that. Well, Original Publication is one of those publications. And one of the sisters out in California ordered some stuff from Original Publication. They were like, oh, you into this, so let us put you down with this Arbello. So that's how things is they're privy to people that we probably didn't have access to in the black community. And years later, they said, let's put you down with this. And one of the things that Arbello does is a whole ritual DVD on Get Rich Quick. But it's talking about how you can get rich and make all kind of money and get a flow of prosperity with stuff out of your kitchen, like salt, maybe olive oil and different things like that. And this cat was This cat was a master. And not only that, master occultist, he also had some other tapes too. Let me see if I can find a picture of him. I'm doing my infomercials as we go along. Let me adjust this. Anyway, this cat just made the transition. So let me see something as we go on. Recently, so he recently made the transition. Let me see now how we're gonna do this. Gotta adjust this table to get the clarity. Master occultist William Alexander Arbello. But nevertheless, he had a tape out called Get Rich Quick. So he kept coming to me, and as a result, I said, okay then. Let's see, we're gonna have to adjust. Let's try to get this thing adjusted as best we can. Since the 1960s, I'm trying to get it so it's clear so I can read it. Since the 1960s, William Arbello taught people from all walks of life the importance of what is that? Can anybody see this thing? Yeah, well, go ahead, read it out loud, somebody. No. Let's start over.
Okay.
Somebody read out loud on that thing right quick while I'm doing this.
Since the 1960s, William Alexander Arbello has taught people from all walks of life how to improve themselves in every way through the practical application of the mystic sciences. A visit at an early age from angelic beings, plus additional meetings with the ascended masters of wisdom, led to a long understanding of sacred magic, which has continued to touch the lives of thousands through his books and tapes. Despite his unfortunate passing in December, Arbello's work continues to be available on an exclusive basis from his long-time publisher,
Inner Publications. Anyway, he has a CD I call Get Rich Quick. And so if anybody's got some financial things, you might want to get a hold of one of these things here. He got some stuff on there, and I'm just talking about things. You don't have to go and do, stuff you can go in your kitchen, stuff you can go to your Bible, stuff that you can go to several things and all. And this is it's unbelievable. So you wanna get a hold of these. You wanna get a hold of these things as we go on. For you sisters out here, we had to go all the way to I think we had to go all the way to Europe to get a real good one. This is love magic. So I don't know, but I'm just saying, I was in New York back in '97, and I had some spells that I had gotten from an Egyptian papyrus. And they had. So I got these spells, and you can get these spells, and nobody was saying nothing. I said, well, I got about 8 love spells. And man, the whole hall of sisters lined up down the hall. So you might want to, if some of you got that, it's all cool. But some of you, in the back of your mind, you might want to, you might still want to dabble or tap into the whole love thing. We got love spells that we got from Europe. So anybody interested in this? And they say you're never too old. That's one thing she says too, because that's the first thing you do. You get in your 60s and you just give the fuck up. Or you get in your 40s and stuff, you're never too old. You see what I'm saying? And all to do what you got to do. But this is love spell, so we got some of that stuff as the infomercial for the people that didn't get the angelic stimulus package. We still have some of those, and I'll give you a report on the purple disc that we talked about. One of the sisters, Tracy, sent her brother a purple disc who's over in Iraq, and it saved his life twice. You know how one thing where the brother he's got a friend, and the friend goes, they're supposed to be going somewhere, and the friend goes, and he gets held back, and then the friend gets blown up. You see what I'm saying? And that was the first thing with the purple disc. The second thing here is, anybody seen the Book of Eli? The movie The Book of Eli? Remember the bullets was bouncing off him? The second time, the bullets were just bouncing off of it because of the purple disc. Because what we're talking about here is a force field with angelic, a force field of angelic energies and stuff like that. And also, I want to also enter into the I want to enter into the thing, going right along when it comes to that purple disc. See if I can find, there's a book out, because the purple disc is called Tachyon Energy. And there's a book out on this. Also another book out, interesting, we'll go along as we go along. This is a book called Temples of Light. Now we're going to have to work with this thing here. This is one of these old 1960 models. Stuff like that. You know, she was like it done been at the damn penitentiary. Shoot. Let's see. We're gonna have to, I need to get that clear. You know, we'll have to see what we can do. If we can push it up, let's see. Is that gonna do it? No, let's see. We'll have to push it up or pull it back. Let's go back. Let's see what we can do. You know, my show is 90% visual. Which one of them? Well, this book here, yeah, you probably get this at Barnes & Noble. Or you can order it. This is a book that this girl put out, and it has a CD to go to it. It's called The Temples of Light, Initiatory Journey into the Heart Teachings of the Egyptian Mystery Schools. You don't hear a lot of Europeans talk about mystery schools. They omit that word. You know, because they have to omit that word, because if there's a mystery school in Egypt, then where does Greece come from? See, there's a whole politics thing with that. You see what I'm saying? You know, like they say Greece is just a miracle. All of a sudden they just come down with this knowledge that nobody had. So they don't tell you about the mystery school. They'll tell you about the temples and Egyptians believed in magic and reincarnation, but they don't tell you about the universities. Well, this white girl, and who wrote this, obviously she had some kind of Afrocentric thing in mind, because she had the common decency to put her sister on the cover. And if we can, I guess if he can zoom in as best he can, make this thing, watch some of this damn throw up off of it. Vomit or something over this shit. Some of this burl or pearl or something. Maybe you'll need some Windex.
You got some Windex. You got some Windex coming.
And stuff here. Get this thing straight, cuz, you know, a lot of my, you know, get some grandmama spit. People used to spit on you, take that spit and rub on your face. I guess you out somewhere and you got some crud. Now, maybe she works. Yeah, get some Windex and see what we can do. We'll pull this back a little further. It's getting better. You know, anyway, she had the decency to put her sister on the cover. Real good book. It has a CD to it. And so, just like I said, I always putting stuff out here for the people to learn. And that's a couple other things, a couple other books too we're gonna get down with. So this is one that you can get. Here's another one I wanna show. I wanna show another one. See if I can find it right quick. It's a book on Tachyon Energy. The Tachyon Energy, as you know, is the purple disc. He said that I've been getting down with the angelic stimulus package. And the stimulus package, man, has been working out great all over the world. I mean, you know, we got people from Jamaica, Czech Republic, Russia, Iceland, all kinds of niggas is everywhere. You see what I'm saying? You know. Everywhere, you'd be surprised. But anyway, in this information, there's a book on Tachyon Energy. Tachyon Energy. Let's see. I think I might put it over here. And the guy that did it, one of the co-authors of the book that wrote it, I think his name is David Cousins. Oh yeah, I don't know. I want to show you this too. We're just gonna go along as we go along. Y'all all right? We'll go along as we go along. You see what I'm saying? Anybody seen this yet? Y'all got a good liquor store here? I'm like y'all have liquor warehouses and stuff? Okay, go there. And this is called Brother Thelonious Belgium style Abbey Ale. You get 4 in a pack. It's about $8 for 4. But they said that 1 beer is equivalent of 2 beers. It's a dark ale and stuff like that. But it's very spiritual, man. This is how much they revere this man and understand that this man was a god. If anybody ever heard Thelonious Monk music, it's some music that take you the rest of your life to put together. It's like, how can a man play some music that sound like it's in kindergarten, but so complex? You see what I'm saying? Anybody ever heard Thelonious Monk? It'll take you. It's like, you got this off the playground. There's some stuff that a kid will A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but then again, there's some stuff that's mathematically and some physics. It's unbelievable and stuff. So they recognize the God in him too. They ain't doing they go originally like, we need to make a beer off this cat because we want to go where he was. See what they do things? This is and look, he got the skull, he got the fez on. Come on, these people they don't just put this stuff together. They tapping into some stuff, and hell, he might have done this himself, and he might have channeled this to them, because they also had out the Purple Haze beer that came out like 2 years ago, and we went to go see a Jimi Hendrix tribute in Atlanta at the Fox Theater last Saturday, and it was 3 hours, and his spirit was up in there because everybody came on there sound just like him. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it was 3 hours, and I mean, they got down, and they played Voodoo Child was the last song they played. And I started calling out libations and stuff. I said, this for the Haitians and stuff like that. It was on, and he got a new CD that they had about a month ago. This new music that it was lost. And the second song is called Neptune something. Anyway, the second song, he's talking about going back to Atlantis. You see what I'm saying? So it's very interesting here. But I just want to put this up here. This is the Thelonious Monk beer. You can get this, like I said, it's like $8 for 4. Might be higher than that, but like I said, they said that 1 beer is equivalent to 2. I guess that's alcohol by volume. Some of y'all experts on that. You know. But this is, like I said, this book again, Temples of Light. You want to get the person's name is Daniel Rama Hoffman, Hoffman. Danielle Rama R-A-M-A Hoffman Hoffman, and it comes included with the CD. So like I said, this purple disc now, like I said, this thing here is not only is it healing people, it's saving people's lives in Iraq. Now this is so we always try to get the scholarship. For the people, this is what's behind the purple disc of stuff that was made by Nikola Tesla at the turn of the century, turn of the last century. It took them 40 years to isolate it and make it, and they made it in 1971. And for the people, the people that thought there's a design on there. That design is the company that isolated it and came up with it in 1971. This is called Tachyon Energy, a new paradigm of holistic healing. The guy named is David Wagner and Gabrielle Cousins. Cousens. Gabrielle Cousins. He wrote another book called The Rainbow Diet. The same Gabrielle Cousins, and he talked about melanin in that book in the 1980s. Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet is the name of the book. Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet. But his name is, the co-author is Gabrielle Cousins. The other guy is David Wagner and Gabrielle Cousins. And this is Tachyon Energy. And pineal gland, kundalini, all this stuff is connected to these purple discs. That's why some people get them and it takes them a long time to go to sleep at night. And all based on this purple disc. But like I said, well, why is it, and like I said, the bullets is bouncing off this guy in Iraq because he has it on. And even the mother said, yeah, make sure he keeps that on. You see what I'm saying? So, but this is the actual stuff behind it. So it's not some spoof. This is the whole Tachyon Energy, and this is the, which they only now relegate to Star Trek. Or, the movie, the Land of the Lost movie that came out. And, he built the Tachyon Tachyon monitor and went back in time. Well, what they make you think is actually sci-fi is honestly real technology that the government has suppressed. So that's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're dealing with here. So but I want to give you this particular thing so you can get the book. Y'all all right? Any questions so far? Like I said, we're doing things unorthodox. You see what I'm saying? We're doing stuff unorthodox and stuff, but I got a couple of things that's interesting here now. I was going to write that down, yeah. So we're doing certain things, and there's certain things that's actually coming down, like I said, this whole Catholic Church thing. You see what I'm saying now? You know, at the turn of last decade, which was 2000, the whole thing happened in America, and they had to pay out billions of dollars of people those priests was molesting and screwing these boys and had to pay out billions of dollars. Now, 10 years later, it's hitting Europe. And whenever that stuff, it means that no matter, you can do dirt and all, but every now and then, after hundreds of years, the karmic pattern has to come back around. You see what I'm saying? It's just about like in 1986, the Japanese prime minister said that the problem with America is black people in it. Now fucking Toyota is fucked. See what I'm saying? You see. And you see this thing on the internet about the Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial? About to seen this thing where they got the guys walking down the street, white guy walking down the street, some black guys come up to rob him, and he pulls out a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they go for the chicken. And he said it works every time. I think it's still on the internet. Anyway, it was Australia, but it was also Japan that was showing it. And right after that, it hit with Japan. That's when all the Toyota stuff started coming out. So that's that whole karmic pattern. And whether you like it or not, this country is gone financially. They're not going to bounce back. So when they say that Barack Obama is spending money like it's a stolen credit card, that's what he's supposed to do because the money is gone. It says it's been gone since 1935. But and this whole unemployment stuff, this is a unique opportunity for us because this is not black people they're talking about. This is another day with black people. You know what I'm saying? You better go, your mama's still living, you better just go back there, or what have you, you know. But it's just another day. But they're talking, these are white people they're talking about. So America is gone. And if you, like I said again, the fall of America, if you can get that now again, because if you go read that Fall of America and just think about the last 2 years, it's just unbelievable the things that's actually happened. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad's Fall of America and all. So the things that's happening, but this is interesting here because this book came out, Papal Magic. This came out in 2008, right before Barack Obama won. And this is a book that's talking about the occult practices written within the Catholic Church. The same guys who wrote this wrote the Necronomicon, the little book, the Simon people. But this is called Papal Magic. So and if you got to get that movie, The Order with Heath Ledger, and they talk about the Carolinians up in there. What's that about? And the whole thing was, when you go to the Catholic Church, it was all about what side did what with the occult, and this side did with the occult. The guy said, well, I'm trained in this, and I'm trained in that. So everybody's into the occult practices. You see what I'm saying? So this is a book explaining and breaking down the occult practices of the Vatican and the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church and stuff like that. And who knows? It might have been them that said, hey, based on karma, we need to blow the whistle on our own priests. You never know. Because believe me, if they don't want nothing to get out, it don't get out. You understand what I'm saying? Because basically, if you own the media, I don't care how much this guy might have been complaining about how he got screwed in 1973. If it's not on the news, it's not getting out. So there's nothing that comes down the pipe unless they want you to see it. So if this is actually happening, it could very well be a ritual. You see what I'm saying? To save face. You see what I'm saying? It's the same, under the same ritual. Well, we got to put this black president because the money's gone. You see what I'm saying? And maybe if we give health care, maybe karmically we can actually be in the grace of something. Y'all all right? Y'all all right? So I just showing things as we go as we go along. As we go along, because we got a lot of stuff to cover. I'm gonna get my notes in a few minutes, but I just want to just bring you up to speed before we go into this particular science. This particular science. Let me get my new. This particular science on some things that we're going to deal with. We're bringing stuff from all over the world. Any questions? Sometimes I like to mix it up because, like I said, a lot of people come with a lot of questions, and by the end of the lecture, they either forgot them or they had to go home and stuff like that. So there's been some things on your mind. But anyway, another reason why is because, like I said, they told me to take my stuff down. It was a blessing because, people was going to the website and was getting stuck there. As soon as we took it down, people panicked and started calling the number that I'll give out. They started calling the number, and we was selling them the angelic stimulus packages. You see, so that was a blessing in disguise. So sometimes when the Spirit tells you to do something, you do it. You see, and you do it, and you don't ask any questions. You see what I'm saying? Like, take for instance, was riding down the street, and they've been having this campaign going on for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe since the late 90s, where they have these cows on these billboards, and it's a Chick-fil-A campaign. I don't know if they do them down here. And the cows are always trying to get you to eat more chicken. Well, this particular one, the cow said, beef puts you to sleep. Eat more chicken. Now, it's interesting here because we went out and got this big Erzuli fountain. I saw it about 5 years ago, didn't get it, and they sold it. And I was in another store and found another one, and we went out and got this fountain, and on the way transporting this fountain back to what is now a museum, at my house, I saw the big sign. And so, went and put the fountain up. Next morning I got up and I started throwing up. I threw up all day. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is some Persian, this fountain. And it's a fountain with a black woman sitting on this thing, and they got she's sitting in a bed of flowers, and the fountain is coming down from the flowers. Anyway, we put it in Erzuli's room. And I was throwing up all day, so I threw up all night. And then all day, and about 9 o'clock, I started detoxing. I'm like, I started detoxing. Like, well, I was had the shakes and all this stuff. So I'm like, well, dang, is it the alcohol, or is it any kind of thing? So I'm trying to deduct, and it was like, get off everything. So about a month later, so I got off the alcohol, got off all the other stuff, and then about a month later, I messed around and ate some damn meat and started having the shakes in the deep. So it wasn't the alcohol, it was the beef. Now, what the sign said was beef put you to, they're talking about the sluggishness of the meat. But now, what they were saying, it was a spiritual thing. Beef puts you to sleep consciously, mentally, psychologically. Now, there's this God. I'm going to show you this. Y'all all right? So I'm looking at this thing. So all this detoxing I'm doing, I'm thinking the detoxing is coming from the sugar or whatever type thing. You got all kinds of things, So I'm thinking it's something else. And I said, I was taking a sip of rum and chasing that down with some damn beer. I said, well, I'm thinking it's that now, But I said, this is kind of funny. I said, because I don't drink like what you call, I can't drink at all in the daytime. I only drink to get under the music to go to another planet or something like that. So I said, it can't be that. But I just did it anyway. And it's like, no, get off everything. We're going to try to show you soon what is really happening. So, when I ate the beef again, so they showed me by getting off all the other stuff what it was going to be. Let's say if I kept drinking the alcohol and kept doing other things, you know, I wouldn't have known that it was the actual beef. Now we know it takes 4 or 5 different factories to make one ground beef product. So if you're getting ground beef, you're not getting ground beef from one thing. They take the ground beef is coming from 4 or 5 different factories. You see what I'm saying? Different factories. So now, explain what's going on here. This is a god called Kalki. Kalki is the last avatar of Vishnu. He's called Kalki in India. He's called Lord Maitreya. He's called Lord Maitreya in Buddhism. He's called Jesus in Christianity. He's called Horus in Egypt. You see what I'm saying? It's this messianic figure that is in you. Now listen. When I went over to England, one of the brothers stepped to me. He used to live in New York, and when he was in New York, he gave me a Purple Heart in the 1990s. He was breaking this whole thing about the whole Purple Heart and stuff, and that's basically some Osirian mysteries that the army hooked up, because they're always dealing with our stuff. So that Purple Heart and stuff like that comes from the Osirian mysteries. You see what I'm saying? It's just like tomorrow celebrating Easter, which is, you know, the Easter egg hunt was when they cut Osiris's body up and threw it all over the Nile. Also, Dionysus was thrown all over. Isis or Aset used the children of the Nile to find Osiris's body. So that's what the whole Easter egg hunt is about. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, that whole Easter thing is put in front of a European pagan holiday, which is not negative. The word pagan is translated the people, but it just means prior to Christianity, and that Easter started on Monday. I think the first day of Easter was Monday, and it was several days like a festival, culminating into the Sunday. But you know, so what they'll do is they'll go in and take these older holidays that come from the Celts, and the Celts is nothing but underpinnings of country music. When you got your pioneers like Hank Williams used to hang out on the black side of town. You see what I'm saying? Johnny Cash used to hang out on the black side of town. And if you ever hear some Johnny Cash and you somehow like it, there's a reason for that. Because Johnny had some good shit. I was with some niggas from New York. I said, look, I'm gonna play this Johnny for you. And I said, if you like rap, you gonna love this shit. This motherfucker be telling some stories. See what I'm saying? He used to hang out on the other side of the track. And the guy said, I like that Johnny Cash. You see what I'm saying? Now, how I got into it was this eerie thing. My grandfather, and this is what I'm saying about genes. My grandfather father was white. He died in 71. When he died in 71, some white people showed up at the funeral, and we said, who is that? They said, well, that's your grandfather's half brother. Now, he was raised on the black side of town. He never even dealt with his father. But he liked country music. He liked James Brown and all of that, but he liked country music. So my point here was he wasn't culturally, you see what I'm saying? You know that whole thing where they got some people never saw their father, and the mama said, that nigga is just like his father. Not just in his mannerisms and some stuff can be genetic, but even by the way he thinks. See what I'm saying? Now we know there's a book called the Hathor Papers. Can't think of the name of the author, but it's called the Hathor Papers. It came out in the 90s. And in that book they talk about how when a woman gets pregnant and she has a child, she gives up part of her car. Your car is a form of melanin It is a form of Akashic records. It is a form of the stuff that your behavioral pattern. It's a whole cosmic computer within the melanin. It's memory. It's all types of stuff. And that's what your car is. It's called the shadow. When a woman gets pregnant and she has a baby, she gives up part of her car. That's why I was born in 1961, but I can remember the 1950s. But in the 1950s, my mother was in her early 20s. You see what I'm saying? But I can remember the 1950s. So how can I remember something and I can remember the 1940s? So how can I remember something and I wasn't born until 61? You see what I'm saying? You see, because I'm 2 years away from 50. Dang. Where did shit come? It just catch up on me. I was 30 a couple of years ago, a couple of weeks ago. Now I'm 48 now. I'm 2 years away from 50. I wonder where that comes from. But I can remember the 1950s and the 1940s. That's because you gain some of your parents' energy, your car, especially if you know, and obviously this has something to do with the female side. You remember Dick Gregory say, your father can get shot, and then somehow in your life you can come down with lead poisoning from your father getting shot even before you was born. So we talk about whole genetic stuff. You see what I'm saying? Now where was I going with this? I don't know where I was going with this, but it's flowing though. It's flowing spiritually. Let me go get ready to post some libations and stuff. I'm gonna post some libations, you know. But anyway, going back, it was on the leaf thing. There was a guy that came when I was in London. There was a brother that came to the lecture that used to live in New York, but he was Caribbean. So by him being Caribbean, not only do they have the American connection, but half of the people in Britain and in Europe come from the Caribbean that's black. And I was over there and I thought I was in Harlem. I was in a section. We never saw no white faces. I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, I'm thinking it's going to be, you know, even when we went to Buckingham Palace, it was just Negroes walking around. I'm like, it was a culture shock. But so they had that connection. So when I used to see the brother in New York, next thing I know, he's over in Britain. I'm like, hey, what you doing over here? He's over. My mother lived over here, and she got sick, so I came to be with her until she made the transition. I just stayed. So he gave me this information on the call key. So I go back, I'm going to tell you, so I go back home. Some brothers from Atlanta came through, and this guy gave me some stuff. He said, well, you know, they hang out at the East Indian temple. What happened was something happened with the East Indians. They was going to the temple, and something was happening, and the East Indians got in trouble. I don't know what it was. They got in trouble with some white folks in that area. So they started entrusting black folks. Funny how some stuff goes. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, but they got a lot of racism going on in that caste system stuff. So these brothers actually took over the temple. In so many words. So the guy came and said, yo, we got a guy that's coming. He's coming to America because he has a prophecy for America and black people in America. And I'm like, damn. I said, when? He said, well, it's during the summer solstice. I said, I'm going to be in London. So while I was in London, the guy came to give this particular information from India. But I'm in London and I get this thing from the brother from the Caribbean talking about Kalki. So I get back and the stuff that the guy's talking about from India is Kalki. Kalki is the last avatar of Vishnu. Vishnu is equivalent to the Hindu Jesus, because Vishnu also incarnates as Krishna, and we know Krishna is the Christ before the Christ. You see what I'm saying? The black one. And and his last incarnation is Kalki. But it's all in something called the Vishnu Prana. It's a prophecy. And in the Vishnu Prana, they start going into when he incarnates, and they start running down everything that the governments and everything is doing now. This is maybe about a 5,000-year-old prophecy. You see what I'm saying? Because it was an oral tradition even before they wrote it in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is one of your oldest ones, also, like, you know, Metanata, cuneiform, or what have you. You see what I'm saying? So, but in this Vishnu Prana, they start talking about the government this way, and it all will be about finances. Nobody will care nothing about nothing spiritual. It's about be about making money, be about this, be about that, and it's going into this stuff. You go, okay then. Then they say one thing and they say this. And obviously this is supposed to be one of the greatest horrors that the ancient mind could ever imagine that will happen in the future. Because if you were in ancient Egypt, you see what I'm saying? And all the Ethiopians is nothing but an extension of ancient Egypt. Indus Kush. You see what I'm saying? All it is some Camites. Remember the last time I was here, we even know now that Angkor Wat and Camor is a settlement of ancient Egypt in Vietnam. Understand why they go to wars. But so anyway, this next prophecy that they say it must have was a horror. Oh, I can't believe this is going to happen in the future. But it says in the future, man will eat the sacred cow. Now, if you're in ancient Kemet, that's Hathor. That's called the heavenly cow. They got a whole book, a book like a. When they open up King Tut's tomb, they got a book called the Book of the Heavenly Cow, and it's talking about things from heaven. They say because our own galaxy is called what? The Milky Way. Milk from Hathor, or Het-Heru, House of Heru, House of Horus. So one thing you didn't do in East Africa and the ancient world, maybe not even ancient Africa, West Africa, you didn't eat the sacred cow. And that practice followed all the way on up in the Kush and on up in the Indus Kush. And to this day, McDonald's is over there. They'll feed them lamb burger, they'll feed them turkey burger, and a veggie burger, but they don't feed them no cow. See what I'm saying? Now, the day before I got the Erzuli statue, I said we need to go get this statue. Because we're still working with these souls. And I'm going to go into this whole thing. We got to break this whole thing down. Because what we got to do today is we got to get this documented on camera. Because I did about 4 or 5 lectures from September, and none of them really came out. And even though the one that did come out that's on YouTube, where we actually did the rituals for the Haitians, it's kind of dark. So we need to get this thing right. You all right back there, cameraman? You documenting it? Okay, got the man. The man that's sitting next to the man is sitting next to the man. All right, this is an old thing, but this is... A guy called me from... Now, you're going to have to get the actual picture. I meant to put this thing on overlay, but when I went there, it was like a black Staples. And they were out of the transparency. We are always out of things in the black community. Oh, we out of that. You go to the black community, oh, we out of that. And you go into that beauty supply store with them Asians got, and they got endless amounts of things. And you might be all mad saying they got all this hair care products for us and all this, and we do, but you know damn well a Negro will not be able to give you that kind of goods and services without being out of that. It's sad, but it's true. You see what I'm saying? But guy called me and said there's a guy named Apanook. Apanook, I got it, maybe we can find it. He said, well, it's an Ethiopian 3-headed lion, and I need to find out some information. Well, we did the information. I said, well, and I said, I remember the picture. The picture is in E. Wallace Budge's book, the famous Budge, a book called From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt. From Fetish to God. There's a picture of a Cushite lion with 3 heads. He said, I need to find out about that. I said, well, listen. I said, for what I know, when you see stuff and you don't have text on it, it's because it's coming from an oral culture. It's broken down. We got cultures that write, but we also have oral cultures. As a matter of fact, all that stuff you see in Hemmitt was nothing, that was stuff that was written down from oral culture. Remember we talked about how they knew that they would start losing memory. Like they said, the black man built the Sphinx and the pyramids and then went to damn sleep. You see what I'm saying? So they started documenting in the monumental period. And they documented, we're going to end up with this when we got going to libations. So they started documenting into the monumental period, and that's where you get all your writings and all your documentation, because before that, the stuff was in detailed files. It was in the Akashic records, and the Akashic record was nothing but a part of the human memory. So everybody walked around with a whole panoramic detailed file and a whole nother world in their head. Because we asked ourselves, how can a person survive without refrigerator, air conditioning, TV, radio, all this modern stuff? And the Spirit said they had all that. Not only did they have a widescreen picture of what was going on in the past, they had a widescreen picture of what was going on in the future, because it was all in the Akashic records, all in the melanin, and we started losing that memory. Somebody give me some toilet paper or some paper napkins. There you go. Yeah, you gotta treat yourself to some of that Viva. Now, that's some soul stuff. But it was an oral culture, and it had detailed files, and then so the monumental period is just stuff where they started documenting. So because we tell the story about how we got this miraculous ancient Kemet that's unmatched to this world, but we go to West Africa, we don't find it, because West Africa was very advanced, South Africa was very advanced, Egypt was very advanced. It's just that in Egypt they chose that part of the Nile and that part of the continent to document what was in the Africans' head. The ancient Africans from China, the ancient Africans from wherever you go on the globe. I don't even want to say Africa as this continent, but the ancient indigenous great old ones, black people. We're going to show you some other people that done popped up and say, hey, don't forget about us. Some guys from China. Some guys from China. They're real powerful too. And they got 8 of them too. 8 immortals. You're going to document them tonight. We're going to show you books where you can read about them and all. But the spirits is coming online. Actually, it's all back. It's here. What we are dealing with here is just a residue of a dream. We are already in the other world partying. We are there and don't know it. Because we're still convinced that this is reality, and it's not. It's called Maya, and it's also called glamour. We're going to get into all this tonight. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay. So now, moving right along, take this back. The sacred cow, they had this prophecy that they would eat the sacred cow. So, when we bought the fountain for the souls, the next day I started throwing up. It wasn't for the alcohol or any other thing, and it wasn't for the high fructose corn syrup, which is why you got diabetes. You see what I'm saying? And all you need is cactus. And you ain't see no Mexican. This is Mexico. There's 40 to 50 million of them over right now, and you don't have none of them with no diabetes. That's because they eat that cactus. They eat that cactus. Now, so what happened was, when we saw the sign and it said, beef puts you to sleep, they were talking about your consciousness. And so, let's go back to ancient Egypt. Let's go back to the prophecy of the Vishnu Purana and Kalki. They said when Kalki comes, he comes to put an end of all this. The last avatar of the last avatar. It's nothing but to break this down, it's the opening of the pineal gland. So when Kalki comes, you see what I'm saying? They say, man, he'll come at a time when man will be eating the sacred cow. There's nothing bigger in fast food than the hamburger. And you think about this. And I said, wait a minute, now hold on. You got the big 3, McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. You see what I'm saying? A lot of small world was thinking that Hardee's was around the world, but that's the regional shit. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up in Mullins, I said, well, one of the big three. Harden's got to be one of the big three. Well, if it was one of the big three, it wouldn't have been in Mullins, damn it. But we did have a burger factory in the South called Hermes. Did y'all remember that? Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
A hamburger joint called Hermes?
Yes.
And that's Tahuti. You see what I'm saying? But the big three, you figure all the big three, is it politics? You mean to tell me that you can't serve a turkey burger? None of them? Is the beef, what is it? Is the beef factory running this stuff? What, it was running enough that Oprah got in trouble for talking about beef and had to go down to Texas. And I think a part of her agreement is you got to put this white boy, Dr. Phil, down with stuff. And next thing you know, she done made him famous. You see what I'm saying? You done made him. You know, but like they said, you know, like they said, you know, you can only have a few people filling the spotlight at one time. They said, you know, so they said in the 40s on back it was Lena Horne, and then after that was Dorothy Dandridge. Remember they talked about that? They said, now they can't have them overlapping. You see what I'm saying? So it's a real politics in that. So now they said, no, we're going to put Queen Latifah for everything. Now, you see what I'm saying? And they had a whole bunch of black actresses in the 90s. The Leela Rashawn, the girl that did the girl, it was a bunch of, about 5 of them acting, and all of a sudden it's reduced down to Queen Latifah and goddamn ignorant ass Monique. And they give her the Oscar. You don't understand the politics behind that doggone movie. One of the worst movies ever shown. And if you can't calculate that movie, and you're not embarrassed by that movie, it's because you need to study a little more about world politics and how they do things. He was a big government agent, Chris Rock. Chris Rock went all of the 90s to get nothing until he came on HBO and said he loved black people but he hated niggas, and his thing blew up. See what I'm saying? That was a government agent. We'll go into that. You see what I'm saying? Nobody works in Hollywood not unless they're to be exploited or they are exploiters. You see what I'm saying? Now, going back, let's finish it up and let's post some libations. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay, let's go. So, apparently, the ancient Egyptians didn't put things, or Canaanites didn't put things, or pretty pictures, or venerate certain things just because it just looks beautiful. So whenever they venerate, not only is Het-Heru, one of the dominant goddesses in Egypt, Hathor, she finds her way into the Bible as the golden calf. That's how powerful she is. You see what I'm saying? And I went into the Chinese place here. Let me know. Okay, you ready?
One more minute.
Okay, I went into the Chinese place and they had a calf with coins coming from up under the belly, right there near the cash register. I said, Nothing is by mistake. So now, in Hemmitt, when they show that, they mean to know this is some vital stuff because it's connected to the Milky Way. Okay, want to change the tape. Want to change the tape. You're going to get off this and we're going to go to the light. Get down with it. We look at monetary a lot of times, and we mistake monetary. You see what I'm saying? Is the only form of prosperity. Oh, it does all that. It does anything you want it to because it opens up a tachyon force field. Okay, we're back home. Yeah. So now, my point here is now, get that, and now this William Arbello, hey, you need to get down with this thing on get rich. This cat just made the transition, and when he came, he like, don't you understand? When I make the transition, when I put together this stuff, and this has been making white people rich for years, and I done made the transition. And I got that melanin. What it means when he comes to me and say this, it means that when you buy the CD, you're gonna get rich. I tell you, $10, you might be on a yacht calling me. Holla. You see what I'm saying? Some way and all. You see, telling me to get to Hawaii on your bicycle or something. Anyway, my point here is, if This prophecy was so horrific that the Vishnu Prana is the prophecy. You can go on the internet and type in Vishnu Prana, and it'll come down with all these prophecies. You be like, man, these people here almost like they had a TV screen in 3,000, 5,000 years ago. And this used to be oral tradition, so it can be 10,000 years. And they say, oh, in the future, man will eat the sacred cow. And then all of a sudden, McDonald's is all over the world. You understand what I'm saying? And what they're saying here is that they got the whole world asleep on beef. Now let's go into this science again. Hold on, because this is very important. Because I'm like, you mean to tell me that you all can't? Okay, it's one thing. Well, you sold chicken sandwiches. Everybody got a chicken sandwich. You mean to tell me you can't sell a turkey burger? You know, you talking about economics. We talking about the people that they'll sell a pet rock, but yet you can sell a pet rock and make money off of it. Because you know what to sell, because you can advertise anything. And you mean to tell me that, let's just say if McDonald's don't do it, let's say Wendy's will go, now we're selling the turkey burger. And you don't think that people will flock there and eat it? It's okay, then we go, well, it's the beef industry. No, it's not that either. It is the government saying that you keep people shut down. And what better way to shut down the melanin than the beef? Now, the one they was talking about in Egypt was the regular beef. This one here is even worse. We talking about clone meat. You see what I'm saying? With meat byproducts. And why is it at the time when we started coming into our consciousness in the 1990s?